now the real Kris is here.
Yeah.
And Media Street, we know. Kris,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us on
Thank
the Grey
you.
Matter program. Here we go again.
Yes.
Kris, MediaStreet.ai, revolutionizing the way ads work on the retail.
Right.
What was the insight?
Right. Thanks for having me, guys. I wish I could say it was like some brilliant insight, but the reality is I was working on another business, like in a coffee shop, and at some point was taking a break and kind of noticed how traffic was coming to the coffee shop and how they're interacting with the point of sale system, and I just, kind of thought like, why are these daily sort of interactions that consumers are having at really local businesses like salons and coffee shops and dry cleaners? They're valuable consumer interactions that are happening. Why are those sort of not being monetized the way that I think they should be? And the reality is that retail media is one of the fastest growing forms of advertising. But it's not accessible to a lot of these local businesses, right? It's the Walmarts, the Best Buys of the world that are selling third-party ads and monetizing their foot traffic. So why is it that all the long tail of retailers aren't allowed to sort of participate, right, within this, the fastest growing form of advertising? And so that's kind of when I started to think, well, maybe I should throw this other business I'm working on, throw that away and check this idea out, right? And so I did a lot more research, and obviously we talked to 100 retail businesses, 80 of which told us that they would show ads. They'd be interested in showing ads for additional income, sort of every milestone sort of checked the box and was a green to yellow light. There were some yellow lights, but there's no like sort of hard red lights. And as we've been going along, that's kind of seems to be the case. Retailers are excited to get additional income. Advertisers that we've talked to are thrilled at the possibility of being able to get into doors that previously weren't accessible to them.
Right. So you mentioned that it's smaller businesses, could be grocery stores, could be coffee shops, could be bakeries, could be any accessories.
Long tail of retail,
right? Which is more in number. 90% of the retail space is actually mom and shop stores.
Yeah.
And with the consumers sort of now opting for more of local businesses, smaller businesses.
Right.
The whole community supporting the smaller businesses, sort of going away from corporations, so to speak.
Yeah.
This, I believe, poses a big opportunity for Media Street to capture that market, right?
Consumers love shopping small, right? I mean, we're also used to just pushing the button on Amazon, but the reality is that we're social creatures, and I go in the same coffee shop every day. I get my dry cleaning twice a week at the same dry cleaner, and those are the real interactions that are meaningful to me, more meaningful than pushing a button on Amazon and having something show up on my doorstep, as convenient as that is. And so I think, as consumers, if you can feel like you're also doing something good and helping that local coffee shop or dry cleaner or pizza slice place that you always go to and helping them gain a little extra additional income, then you're more receptive to the ads, right? And that's what advertisers want, is sort of that engagement.
So the ad comes and appears in a printed form on the receipt. Is that what it is?
The post-purchase page. So after you swipe the card, you've made your transaction
on the screen.
Yeah.
So it could be a moving ad.
Right.
It could.
So basically, they are using the free space, which was wide before.
Yeah.
Different point of sale systems treat that space differently. But we've identified some real estate on that space that's not being used. And so it's on the sort of thank you page. A lot of times it's sort of empty space, right?
Do you agree to this purchase of $42.39?
Yeah.
Yes, no.
Do you want a receipt? Thank you for your purchase. It's really kind of,
So we were talking about green, orange, and red flags.
Yeah.
So this product is like very much close to fintech and advertisement tech. So what about regulations? So what kind of red flag regulations you are expecting this?
Yeah. So we don't deal at all with the transaction, right? So we're post-transaction, we're just showing an image on the post-purchase page. So I think that's important to note. In terms of advertising, we sort of been very careful to structure it in a way that not only we're not going to allow sensitive forms of advertising, so tobacco and adult content just won't be a part of our network. But going beyond that, we also have built in the controls for retailers to actually decide, hey, I want to show this category, not this category. I'm open to showing these types of ads and not other types of ads. So they do have the controls to be able to, because every business is a little bit different, right?
Earlier we were discussing something, then you said that I'm going to ask about Kris, about how AI plays a role in this.
So tell about how you're managing this with technology, because when you are giving this right to the retailer to select the ad, that needs a lot of automation and administrative work on the back end.
To the retailer selecting the ad.
Yes, yeah. So that will need a lot of technology, you know. So how are you taking technology? What kind of AI maybe you are using? What tools? So if you can shed some light on that.
I mean, the AI really comes in on the advertiser side more because advertisers can, build an ad and what would have taken, probably days and weeks to do can create an ad in minutes using our ad builder and place that ad, across thousands of retailers, hopefully.
So through your service, they can make the ad and also place it.
Yes.
By selecting a retailer or multiple retailers.
They can build the ad, they can place the ad based on location or retail channel. So if you want to just select coffee shops in Portland, Oregon, that would be a possibility. Or you have you're Untuckit or someone and you're launching a new collared button-down shirt, you can display ads at the dry cleaners near your new store, right? So it could be as niche or as broad as you want.
Or ice cream.
Yeah.
Right? So the shirts get dirty, right?
If I'm tied and I want to advertise at a dry cleaner, there's so many permutations of it, and in my background, that's probably what it excites me the most and fits with my background is ad sales and being able to excite advertisers about a new way of deploying their messages. And so that's the part that sort of excites me the most, is thinking of all the different permutations that are possible and the ad campaigns that are going to be possible with this platform.
So that's where we are coming now, that why this field. And when I was seeing your LinkedIn, you look like a serial entrepreneur. So you have a background as well. So if you can share some light.
Kind of serial? I don't know. So previously I started a business which matched on the buy side advertisers with sports teams, music festivals, film festivals. It was called Sponsor Pitch. And essentially you had events pitching advertisers on sponsorships through our platform. So we connected the two through data onto a platform. And this is in some ways analogous to that. So some of the learnings from that business have definitely been applied to this. In the world of retail media, the Walmarts and the Amazons are the Yankees, and the mom and pop stores are sort of the smaller state fair, local festival.
Yeah.
In my old life, that would be sort of the equivalent, right? And so through our old platform, we were able to match those smaller sort of niche events with big advertisers. And we're going to look to do the same through our platform. It's just taking it to retail, taking that concept to the retail.
So how has the adoption been so far?
The adoption's been, in theory, because we haven't finished the product, we haven't launched the product yet. The feedback has been good, but obviously we don't know until we fully release it into the wild for sure. But the feedback that we've gotten, like I said, 8 of 10 retailers have told us that they would show ads in exchange for additional income, physical retailers. So the feedback from that side's been good, and the feedback from advertising side has been great, because I don't think you can walk anywhere in New York City where you don't see advertising.
Yes, everywhere, screaming at us. But do we have any competitors for MediaStreet in any form on the retail front at the point of sale?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the competitors, so retailers that we've talked to want additional income. So they're game for that. Most are very interested in this. If we can deliver additional income, but also be non-intrusive to their actual job, right? So like a coffee shop just wants to serve cups of coffees. They're not going to put up an ad or deal with an ad, or an ad cup falls down, they're going to put it back up. So as long as we can deliver it in a seamless way that runs sort of in the background of their business, but delivers them additional income, and that's what we look to do through the point of sale system, then they've been very receptive to this. And advertisers, same. I mean, like I said, you can't walk anywhere in New York City and not see an ad. The question is how much of those bus stop ads and, flyers that you get handed, how much of that is actually working?
So, it's finding all those captive touch points where you can potentially speak with your customer. I think that's the spot when you are done with the journey of purchasing and now you're standing and you're really, really captive. You're just waiting for either for your cash change or you're waiting for your card to come back. And that's when you're focused on that spot. Mm-hmm. I'm going to play devil's advocate over here, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what the gray matter is all about.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I've done my purchase and I see an ad. Does it help me go back into the store to buy something? Or is something that I have to remember for the next time?
So all of our ads are QR code based.
Right.
So once you hit so you'll see, sort of a call to action, imagery, logo of the advertiser. And if you choose to hit the QR code, then the experience moves on to your mobile phone.
Right. So you sort of carry forward the customer from the bus to their mobile phone, right?
Right. So we want to get them off the point. Obviously, we don't want someone interacting with an ad on the point of sale system because the retailers have lines, right? Yeah. So it's the last thing. So we get them off. It's a QR code, and typically, with the way we built the ads, you can make the decision whether you want to hit the QR code or not.
Or not.
Within,
if you do, then the engagement
5
continues.
seconds, less than 5 seconds.
So tell me the core technology stack and what are the integrations. So what's
You tell me the core.
I am not the developer. My team
So just tell me how does the integration work with the existing system?
So we've built our API to communicate from our web app where ads are placed to the point of sale app, which will be built or is being built to work with various point of sale systems.
Understood.
Right.
Understood. So
and it can be downloaded within app marketplaces. So the Squares of the world have their own app marketplaces where you'll be able to download our point of sale app as well.
Excellent. So what kind of data are you gathering from the retail? Is there meaningful output data besides serving ads?
Yeah.
Is there any data that can be utilized?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the things that we've learned in talking to retailers also is that some of the data about how consumers interact with content would be helpful to them as well, in knowing which types of other businesses they could partner with and things like that, right? So to better understand their own customers. And so we'll make that data available within an analytics window within our platform.
Right.
So that's a good point.
Yeah. So what about the go-to-market and launch strategy? So what are you planning on that?
Yeah. So our goal is to ramp it up to a few hundred retailers here in New York City, where we're based, and get that rolling, and then we'll expand it. So there's probably no better place to start a business like this than New York City, where you have
the best place,
lots of small retailers, bodegas, pizza shops, dry cleaners, salons. It's all here, right?
It's dense, right?
It's dense, and and that's one thing which I've noticed, and what you probably noticed walking through New York City is a lot of those small businesses have sort of been replaced, right, by CVS's. Nothing wrong with CVS, but CVS and Starbucks, right?
Yeah. End-to-end read.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about New York, I think, is that this is one place where those businesses can still thrive, and consumers want sort of a different experience than walking into a big box retailer, and so. But unfortunately, you do notice it's sort of, I used to live in Flatiron, and walking between Flatiron and the West Side used to be tons of small shops of all kinds of different sizes, shapes, and species, right? And a lot of them have been replaced, and I think that's unfortunate because that's really kind of what not only employs the citizens of your town wherever you live, but it's also something that gives the really
It's more
brings the
intrinsic,
culture.
right?
It
It's
makes
not
the city
something
more
very
interesting
national.
and I think delivers a unique aspect to the culture that of each city, right? And so our goal would be to help more of those businesses sustain themselves and not be replaced by sort of a generic cookie cutter retailer.
But or what I believe, back in the day when retail was just retail, right? Selling something and making money off the products that you sell.
Yeah.
And then everything became about advertising. So stores started to sell their shelf space,
Right.
right? Started to sell advertising on shelves, on walls, on screens, on pretty much everything. People wearing branded T-shirts, right?
Yeah.
Kellogg's counter, there is a girl standing telling you which is the best cereal in the nutrition bar that you got to get for yourself for your
Yeah.
next breakfast.
Right.
I believe what Media Street is doing, it's something which is going to aid these smaller retailers because they don't have a lot of real estate in store. So, for example, somebody is in the vintage space and selling vintage ties, or
Right.
vintage accessories, or anything for that matter, and they are in Chelsea. They have a small space.
Yeah.
They're not selling any brand. They're selling vintage stuff. So technically, it's
Yeah.
not any brand.
Media Street doesn't take any additional real estate, right? So it's all on the point of sale
Yes.
system. But I think it is interesting to note that, like big box retailers are selling those end cap displays, right?
Yes.
For real money, and that's something that just previous to now has been inaccessible for 80% of retailers. I say the long tail, but it's really sort of more of a bell curve, right? Like
Yeah.
the majority of retailers just aren't able to monetize their business in that way because they don't have the scale, for one, to do so, and they don't have the resources. They don't have a sales team that's out there pitching
Yeah.
media
Yeah.
to advertisers, right? And so that's something that I think that we can do is sort of level the playing field a little bit.
Even from an advertiser's perspective, I'm an ad guy, right?
Yeah.
I understand. He's the tech guy,
Okay.
and you're both.
Yeah.
So, as an advertiser, it makes sense for me to go targeting in micro spaces because I can't advertise in big spaces. So, for example, I'm a coffee brand, a local D2C coffee brand, and I'm only available in, for example, probably on the East Coast.
Right.
I can't advertise on billboards. I can go national television. I don't have to. I can do much of digital advertising. But when it comes to store, even though I'm not being sold in that store, but I can advertise, and through the QR code that you told me,
Yeah.
I can build a customer journey for my potential customers to be converted from the POS onto DTC and then order.
Right.
Maybe that store is offering a 10% discount on my brand if I scan this right now.
Yes.
So people who are listening, see Kris's detail in the description section and write to him so he'll guide you how to get on the service and to get your brand to retailers. So it's great for SMEs, in my opinion, and from an advertiser's perspective.
Yeah. I think you really honed in on a key point there. Trial within an actual physical retail is a really tough thing to do, right?
Yes.
If you go into an aisle, you have hundreds of different options within that aisle, and it's maybe easy to do that, to set up a trial with a big box retailer, but there's no way to do that currently across sort of the long tail of retailer. Whether you're launching a shampoo, getting into salons, it's a pain. If
Yeah.
you're launching an energy drink and you want to encourage consumers to try it at retail, it's a really tough thing to do, right? And so that's one of the roles that I think our platform can play.
So we wish you good luck. And what do you see after you launch and you get successful? How this will shape the industry, or there will be competition? Are you expecting competition, or some things will change around this industry once you launch?
I mean, I'm sure there'll be competition. There's probably already some level of competition.
Somebody already building the next Media Street.
You know advertising, right? So advertising is there's a finite number of dollars out there, and they could go to a billboard, or they could go to Media Street, or they could go to handing out flyers on the street corner, right?
Or they could
And
be
so-
just sort of saved for next year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Although a lot of advertisers want to spend the budget at the end of the year. They try to spend the budget because they know they might not get it back, right? So, but yeah, so that's really, I mean, I think that's the biggest competition is just like how valuable is your ad spend on MediaStreet versus other types of advertising.
So what would you say would be the cost of impression? Have you done those metrics? Have you
I don't
run
want to
those
talk about
numbers?
that yet.
Not yet, right? So
I
we
would rather
won't
not talk
know
about that.
as yet how much it's going to cost to be on MediaStreet's platform.
Yeah, I mean, our initial model will be based more on like sort of like you're paying for a door. And every retailer has different levels of
All right.
foot traffic depending on the type of retailer and the location.
All right.
So I'm trying to stay away from
Flat
please
pricing.
don't post this, but trying to stay away from sort of the eyeballs.
So Kris, you've reached MediaStreet and you mentioned that you had another startup. Could you speak about that startup a bit more? I believe you exited from that.
Yeah, so my previous company was called Sponsor Pitch, and we basically built a platform to connect sellers of event sponsorships with advertisers.
Right. And you exited.
And we sold it to a private equity firm, small private equity.
You made a lot of money, right?
And not where I'm starting a new startup, so that answers your question.
All right.
So, but before starting that startup, what was your prior experience and what made you start the first one?
Yeah, so my background is in advertising. I worked for a big advertising and PR agency earlier in my career called Edelman.
Right.
Then went to business school and came out and worked at a mobile gaming startup called Gameloft.
Which
so-
is not a startup anymore, which is big.
Do you know Gameloft?
Of course.
Okay.
Who does not?
And then ultimately launched Sponsor Pitch, and now I'm launching MediaStreet.
Got it.
What's the name? What's the sort of theme behind the name? What's in the name?
Yeah, so the name MediaStreet originally had been there's some behind here's some inside baseball for you. So originally it had been tack board. If you walked into a restaurant or a barbershop in like the 1980s or 90s, a lot of times there were tack boards,
Yeah.
which had business cards from other businesses inside that business, right?
Oh.
And it was sort of like this ad hoc way of cross promoting between businesses. Decided at some point to change the name to MediaStreet just because I felt like it sort of I felt like it was sort of more indicative about what we were building.
And I think the idea was good. It was unique, but like the people of the current generation, they will not know what.
They wouldn't.
I still do it in some ways. You go
Yeah,
to a
but-
cafe, a coffee shop, they put up flyers for some concert, some gig
but
happening.
that
somewhere.
tag board is
Occasionally you
like
see
tag board
that.
is
Occasionally you still go into bodegas and delis and you'll see
Yeah.
like 10,000 business cards patched up on the side of the wall, right? That's like a rough version of cross promotion, right?
Right.
And that kind of could use that sort of idea can use some technology applied to it, and I think that we're doing it in kind of hopefully a smart, easier way than dropping your business card in the box of a retailer, right? But yeah, I think MediaStreet is more indicative. We're bringing media to to
Literally a
retailer
street.
doors that
Which is on
prior
the
to
street.
now it wasn't available to. Yeah.
Excellent. So we'll wrap up. And one question which we started asking in the first season, so we'll ask you that question. We never prepared that. It's a surprise question.
Okay.
What is the gray matter to you?
What is the gray matter? Oof. I mean, as an entrepreneur, the gray matter is you wake up in the morning, you have 10,000 things to do. What are the things you're going to cross off the list today, right? It could be, and I think as an entrepreneur, a lot of times it's just like such an emotional process that it's like, can you get yourself to checking things off that list today, and how many can you check off, and bringing yourself to be able to do that. And the secondary level of it is obviously like, are you checking off the right things off the list?
And that once you're done with that.
But when you're in my stage, like there's 1,000 things that we could do. So how much of that gray matter are you checking off the list every day?
Interesting.
Cool.
Interesting. That's
Unique
a good
answer.
one.
I don't know what does it mean. You tell me.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's what
That's
the
what
beauty
you're
of gray matter, right? It's gray matter. It
There's
could
no
be
black and
anything.
white.
It's not
It
black
could
and
be
white.
anything.
Right?
It could be anything, right? So
Yes.
it's you checking off something. So basically, what you're doing is sorting your day,
Right.
and that's what it is.
Yeah.
So we'll
No, that's
continue,
cool.
but we need to say goodbye
Yeah.
to this screen. Now all right, guys, have a good one, and we'll see you in another episode of The Gray Matter.
Take care.
Kris,
Thanks.
any parting words?
Check out MediaStreet.ai.
Yep. Thank you very much.